Hello, welcome to a quick tutorial on interference sequencing with the Korg Electribe 2. This is a name that I don't think anybody else has called it, but it'll make sense why it's called that in a minute. So, if you've used the Electribe 2, you probably know that you've got 16 tracks, each one plays one sound, however you want. You can tweak it as it's playing, and you can play up to 4 bars. But what you probably didn't know is that each track, each pad, has its own time and its own measure length. So, for instance, if we're playing on this, pad 9, we've got a simple kick there, and we look at the sequencer, it's going to play a beat every four quarter notes on the beat, and it's just going to do that, and it'll do that for, here, I'll extend the length of the measure, and it will do that for however long the pattern is. So, you get the idea. And it's all over here. It extends out. So what's pretty novel about this thing that really wasn't advertised is that every one of these pads has its own meter, or its own measure length, not quite its own meter, and I'll get to that. So this one can be playing 16 sixteenths of a measure every time, or 16 quarter notes for every bar. And you'll see that in the sequencer represented as all 16 pads, but you can do fewer than that. So if I want this one, if I want this pad, actually, let's do the clap. If I want this pad to play off sync with the other bars, I can actually change the number of beats. So we go over here to last step, you scroll up, so I'll do 12. So now it has 3 4-beat sections, or 4-note sections, and I'll save that just so it doesn't get lost. And now if I sequence this to play once on each of these, that's it for this one. I actually need to repeat that for the next 3. But now this pad will repeat its 4-bar pattern every 12 notes, whereas this pad will repeat every 16 notes. And that's a big deal, because that means that there's now 12 different patterns that will play back over the course of what we only have saved in 4 bars. So that's huge. That means that this thing is not limited to 4 bars, at least for the rhythm. Your pattern can actually evolve over actually an exponential number of different sequences as these different patterns interfere with each other, sometimes lining up, sometimes not lining up, and they build on each other. So let's listen to that. Actually, I'll put an emphasis on one in each sequence. So we'll go back here. We'll do a double tap here. So we'll mute this one for now. Oh, sorry. Let me get back in. So there's your. We're gonna put the double tap every 4. So it's there. You get the idea. And now we go back over here, unmute this part, and our clap. And on the sequencer, we'll add the double tap at the end of every 3 beats, because this measure only has 3 quarter notes in it. So we'll do that on every measure. I think I covered it. Yep. And now, it's not very dance beat-like, but it's the right idea. So now what happens, if we play these back together, is that even once this one has finished its measure, this one still has a beat to go. So they'll be offset by 1 beat, 1 quarter note, for every bar they play back. And so they cycle around. Sometimes those double claps will line up, and sometimes they'll be on opposite ends of the measure. So listen to this. And you see how they're offsetting each time. There should be, I think, actually only 4 different patterns that will play back over the course of these 4 bars, but that's still a lot, right? That's 16 measures now that you get out of only 4 saved bars. and the number grows exponentially. So if you add another pad, what's the good? This one has good contrast with the others. If you change this one's length to something that is not a factor of the other ones, like 9, that would be, actually, let's do 10, another two down. Now it only takes up 10 pads here, so these last 6 are irrelevant. And we'll sequence that. And we'll do something weird like that. Oh wait, that's not good. Let's listen to that. Right, okay, so that's something, at least. And now we'll unmute these, and now we've got... I'm not going to even try to do this mental math, because I just did a half measure, and that's going to make things very confusing. But listen. And you'll hear that it goes back and forth. It goes back and forth between kind of a stutter step sound and a regular groove sound, and then it's almost flat 4/4 for the next one. And it keeps cycling and it keeps changing with every step around the cycle. And I'm not sure you could do this on most drum machines. I'd almost consider it a glitch. And in fact, a lot of the times that I've done this, it's actually crashed the sequencer, so that I can no longer add beats in this way. I have to go record them in, and they never show up here. It's a cool feature. I'm hoping Korg doesn't patch it out in the next one. But yeah, check it out if you've got an Electribe or Electribe sampler. It's a neat little bonus feature. I'll be back with more of this soon. See you later.